Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. There's something almost disarming about the way Yeshua talks here. He brings up sparrows, not eagles, not lions, not anything impressive, just small, ordinary birds that most people wouldn't even notice. In his day, they were cheap, almost insignificant, the kind of thing you could buy without thinking about it. And yet, he says not one of them falls to the ground outside the Father's awareness. That's meant to slow us down a little, because most of us live as if God pays attention to the big things, the dramatic moments, the obvious victories or failures. But the small, daily, forgettable details? We assume those slip past unnoticed. We assume heaven is focused on world events, not the quiet Tuesday afternoon when your mind is spinning or your heart feels heavy. But Yeshua points in the opposite direction. He says the Father's attention is not divided the way ours is. He doesn't overlook the ordinary. Then he takes it even farther. He talks about the hairs on your head being counted, not estimated, not roughly known, counted. That's such a strangely specific image. It's almost excessive. Who would bother with that level of detail? That's the point. This isn't about information. It's about care. It's like when you're riding along a familiar road and you suddenly notice something small you've passed 100 times before. A crack in the pavement shaped a certain way. A tree that leans just slightly towards the road. Once you see it, you realize it's been there all along. You just weren't paying attention. But someone else might have noticed every detail from the beginning. Yeshua is saying the Father is like that, but perfectly so. Nothing about your life is background noise to Him. The worries you don't say out loud, the quiet fears that sit under the surface, the things you assume are too small to bring to God. None of that is invisible. And this comes in a context where He's preparing His disciples for difficulty, opposition, rejection, uncertainty. He's not promising an easy road. He's promising presence in the middle of it. That changes the way you move through life. When you know you're seen, you don't have to perform. You don't have to pretend you're stronger than you are. You don't have to carry anxiety alone. It's a lot like riding with someone who knows the route better than you do. You still have to pedal. The road is still real. But there's a quiet confidence because you trust the one beside you. You don't have to scan every turn or fear every unknown stretch. You can focus on the ride. Maybe that's the invitation here. To bring the small things to God instead of only the emergencies. To let Him into the ordinary thoughts, the passing concerns, the unnoticed moments. To remember that your value isn't measured by how impressive your life looks, but by the attention and love of the Father who sees you completely. And over time, that kind of awareness reshapes your fear. Not because the world becomes less uncertain, but because you realize you were never navigating it alone in the first place. Well, happy hump day, folks. We made it halfway through the work week. Stick in there. Hope to see you here tomorrow. And until then, Abba willing. Shalom, shalom.